Sleepy Hollow, just the name sends chills down your spine. It's a place where shadows seem longer, where whispers of the past linger in the wind. Nestled in a secluded valley surrounded by dark woods, Sleepy Hollow feels frozen in time. But beneath its peaceful facade lies a chilling secret, a story whispered around campfires, a story that sends shivers down the bravest souls, the story of the Headless Horseman. A terrifying specter, a harbinger of doom, said to roam the lonely roads of Sleepy Hollow. They say he rides a black steed, its hooves pounding like thunder. They say he carries his head in his hand, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. Sleepy Hollow wasn't always known for horror. It was once a quiet farming community, content in its isolation. But something happened, something that changed everything, something dark and sinister that cast a long shadow over the town. The story begins during the American Revolutionary War. In the heat of battle, a Hessian soldier, a brutal artilleryman, met a gruesome end. Decapitated by a stray cannonball, his body was buried in the unholy ground of the old churchyard. His head, never found. They say he rises from his grave every night seeking his lost head. They say he rides, fueled by rage and a thirst for vengeance, searching for anyone who dares to cross his path. The legend of the Headless Horseman is more than just a scary story in Sleepy Hollow. It's a tale that has haunted the town for centuries, a ghostly presence that lingers in the air. It's woven into the very fabric of the town, a part of its identity that cannot be separated from its history. It's passed down through generations, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. Grandparents tell their grandchildren, and the story is kept alive, a living, breathing part of Sleepy Hollow. Some say the horseman is a phantom, a manifestation of guilt and the horrors of war. They believe he is the spirit of a soldier who lost his head in battle, doomed to roam the earth in search of it. Others believe he's a real entity, a vengeful spirit trapped between this world and the next. They say he rides through the forest at night, his horse's hooves echoing like thunder. Whatever he is, one thing is certain: the legend of the Headless Horseman is deeply rooted in the history and psyche of Sleepy Hollow. It's a story that has shaped the town's culture and its people's fears. His presence is felt everywhere, in the rustling leaves, in the creaking branches, in the whispers of the wind that seem to carry his name, in the shadows that stretch long and deep after sunset, casting eerie shapes that play tricks on the mind. The villagers speak of him in hushed tones, their faces etched with fear. They gather around fireplaces, sharing their encounters and sightings, each story more terrifying than the last. The legend of the Headless Horseman is not just a tale, it's a living nightmare that Sleepy Hollow cannot escape. Fear is a powerful force, one that can consume a community from within. And in Sleepy Hollow, the fear of the Headless Horseman is palpable. It hangs in the air, thick and heavy, suffocating any sense of peace or tranquility. People avoid going out at night, especially along the lonely stretch of road where the horseman is said to ride. Doors are bolted, windows shuttered, every sound interpreted as a potential sign of his approach. The fear is most potent among the children of Sleepy Hollow. They grow up hearing the stories, their imaginations running wild with each chilling detail. The Headless Horseman becomes their boogeyman, a constant threat lurking in the shadows. Section 5. Ichabod Crane the Outsider. Into this town of fear and superstition arrives Ichabod Crane, a lanky, awkward schoolmaster from Connecticut. An outsider, he's oblivious to the dark undercurrents that plague Sleepy Hollow. He's drawn to the town's beauty, its idyllic setting, and the promise of a comfortable life. Ichabod is a man of learning, a believer in logic and reason. He scoffs at the tales of the Headless Horseman, dismissing them as mere superstition. But little does he know that his skepticism will be put to the ultimate test. He's captivated by Katrina Van Tassel, the daughter of a wealthy farmer. Beautiful and flirtatious, Katrina becomes the object of Ichabod's affections. But he's not alone in his pursuit. Section 6. A Fateful Night. One crisp autumn night, Ichabod attends a harvest party at the Van Tassel farm. The air is filled with the scent of freshly harvested crops and the sound of laughter. The atmosphere is festive, with music, dancing, and plenty of food and drink. Tables are laden with pies, roasted meats, and jugs of ale, inviting everyone to indulge. But as the night wears on, the talk inevitably turns to the legend of the Headless Horseman. The flickering candlelight casts eerie shadows as tales of the spectral rider fill the air. Ichabod, emboldened by the merriment, dismisses the stories as nonsense. He scoffs at the idea of a headless rider haunting the woods, his voice loud and confident. He laughs off the warnings of the locals, his arrogance growing with every tankard of ale. His bravado seems unshakable as he boasts about his bravery, but his laughter rings hollow in the ears of those who know the truth. The older villagers exchange worried glances, their faces etched with concern. As the party winds down, Ichabod finds himself alone, riding home through the dark and silent woods. The once lively atmosphere is replaced by an eerie stillness. Every creak of a branch, every rustle of leaves sends a shiver down his spine. The path seems to stretch endlessly, each sound amplifying his growing unease. He tries to convince himself it's just his imagination, but deep down, a seed of doubt has been planted. His mind races with the stories he had so easily dismissed earlier, and he can't shake the feeling that something, or someone, is watching him. Section 7. The chase begins. And then he sees it, a figure on horseback silhouetted against the moonlit sky. It's tall and imposing, its head shrouded in darkness. Ichabod's heart races as the figure draws closer, its horse's hooves pounding like thunder. He tries to outrun it, whipping his horse into a frenzy. But the figure follows relentlessly, gaining on him with every stride. Ichabod can hear its heavy breathing, feel its icy presence closing in. Terror grips him as he realizes the truth. He's being pursued by the Headless Horseman. The stories he dismissed as mere superstition are all too real, and he's about to become the next victim of the legend. Section 8. Terror in the Moonlight. The chase is a blur of fear and adrenaline. Ichabod races through the moonlit landscape, desperate to escape the clutches of the specter. But the horseman is relentless, its presence growing stronger with every passing moment. He can feel the heat of the horse's breath on his neck, smell the stench of death that surrounds the rider. The sound of the horse's hooves is deafening, each thud like a hammer blow to his heart. Ichabod's mind races, searching for a way out, but there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. He's trapped in a nightmare, hunted by a creature from beyond the grave. Section 9. The Vanishing. The chase reaches its climax at the bridge by the old church, the spot where the Hessian soldier met his gruesome end. The horseman rears back, its fiery pumpkin head held high, before hurling it with terrifying force. Ichabod screams as the projectile flies towards him. He ducks, trying to avoid it, but it's too late. The pumpkin shatters against his head with a sickening thud and everything goes black. The next morning, Ichabod Crane is gone, vanished without a trace. All that remains is his hat and a shattered pumpkin lying beside the bridge. The townsfolk whisper, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and grim satisfaction. Section 10. Fact and Folklore. The story of Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman is a tale that blurs the lines between fact and folklore. Was Ichabod truly the victim of a supernatural entity, or was there a more earthly explanation for his disappearance? Some believe that Ichabod, terrified by his encounter, fled Sleepy Hollow and never returned. Others speculate that he was the victim of a rival suitor, disguised as the Headless Horseman to scare him off. Whatever the truth, the legend of the Headless Horseman continues to haunt Sleepy Hollow, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows. Section 11. The Legend Endures. The story of Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman is more than just a ghost story. It's a narrative that has transcended time, captivating the imaginations of countless generations. It's a tale about fear, superstition, and the power of belief. The legend speaks to the deepest parts of our psyche, where the unknown and the unexplained reside. It's a story that's been told and retold for generations, each retelling adding its own layer of mystery and intrigue. The details may change, but the essence of the legend remains the same, a testament to its enduring power. The legend endures not just in Sleepy Hollow but in our collective consciousness. It has become a part of our cultural fabric, a story that reminds us of the thin veil between reality and the supernatural. It reminds us that even in the most ordinary of places, darkness can lurk, and sometimes the things that scare us most are the things we can't explain. The legend of the Headless Horseman serves as a metaphor for the fears that haunt us all. So the next time you find yourself in a quiet town surrounded by dark woods, remember the tale of Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman. And listen closely. The whispers of the past may still echo through the trees, and the shadows may still hold secrets. You might just hear the sound of hoofbeats in the distance, the legend lives on, a haunting reminder that some stories never truly end.